Think about it. Every hiring decision is a choice that can make or break a team, a culture, and even an entire company. So how do we make the right choice? Hi, I'm Dr. Mickey, and welcome to Inside the Mind of Hiring. Here we'll uncover the psychology and strategy behind effective hiring. Because the right fit isn't just about skill or experience. It's about understanding people, their motivations, their strengths, and the shadows of their shortcomings. Together, we'll tackle the tough questions. How do we look beyond bias? How do we find the qualities that make people not just qualified hires, but the right hires? This is about identifying leaders who drive success, lift morale, and actualize a company's vision. Inside the Mind of Hiring starts now. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon from Philadelphia and New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here with my buddy, Dr. Pat Baccili, and our show is Inside the Mind of Hiring. And our episode today it's our 30th episode.
Yeehaw.
Right. Is the futuristic edge of leadership, or leaders that have a futuristic edge.
Yeah.
So in prior episodes, I described people for all seasons as the most equipped leaders for 2026 and beyond in a business environment being transformed by AI. In this episode, I'm going to present two AI innovators from really different walks of life who merged their unique personal characteristics and skills to develop an AI product that adds a lot of key memory utility or value to current AI platforms or models. So who are these leaders? Who are they? What roles do they play in developing did they play in developing a product? And what value does the product provide? What are their unique personal characteristics and skill sets? And what is a possible reason why existing AI companies had not incorporated this value-added feature into their AI products? Kind of interesting that there was a gap there. So one of the people, Dr. Pat.
Yeah. And a giant gap.
Right.
One of the greatest gaps you've ever seen in technology, an issue that almost every one of us that uses AI, including one of my best friends who just lost an entire manuscript because of memory. So this is a hot topic, right?
Oh,
but no one was doing anything about it except to now, right?
Right. Well, thanks for amplifying that. So what you're saying is this is a major contribution.
Major contribution and a major issue that all of us had run into. But obviously we didn't take any action like the two people you're talking about today.
Right. And one of those people is Mila Jovovich. Okay. And the other one is Ben Sigmund. And they developed Mem Palace, or Memory Palace. Mem Palace is for short, but that's the brand. It's an open source, and I do repeat open source, which is kind of unique.
That means free. That means free.
Right. And that actually means other programmers can use it and add value to it while they're using it. So yeah, it's an open source AI memory system that stores and retrieves conversational context locally on a user's device with privacy, with no API keys. So there's no fancy and complicated ways to access it. No subscriptions and no cloud dependency after installation. The product provides a memory layer for AI assistance that helps preserve information across user sessions. The system organizes information into what we call a memory palace structure. And like most palaces, it has wings, rooms, halls, and drawers to make retrieval more reliable, quick, and efficient. In other words, it employs a spatial map for information instead of a flat list of text groupings. So AI is not just searching notes, it is walking through familiar rooms where facts related to work projects, let's say,
Hmm.
travel plans, manuscripts, as you said, Dr. Patton, health notes, etc., are stored.
Yeah.
It's like humans recalling familiar places. The system helps users find the right data at the right time. Now, the lack of quick and easy memory retrieval has been, as you kind of mentioned before, Dr. Pat, a common pain point in AI models like, and I'm talking about great AI models like Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini. And I'm wondering if Perplexity lacks it as well, because that's an AI system that I use. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Well, they all lacked it. I mean,
Yeah,
so the problem isn't that they lacked it. The problem
right,
is they didn't address it. You know, what I love about this, Forbes comes out of the gate and their article, I mean, you cannot look, she can't get away from who she is, even
you're
even if
right.
she develops something incredible, because
You're
the
right.
headlines say Millie, actually
Jovovich.
Jovovich or Jovovich, it depends
Yeah,
on whether you pronounce the J,
right,
goes open source, guns a blazing with top AI memory code, and they got this picture of her from Resident Evil, right? Because that's
right,
her image,
right,
and yet we're talking about her and Ben today because two reasons for me about leadership. Back in, I don't know when I met the Dalai Lama, but back when the Dalai Lama was here, he made a bold statement, and he said, women here,
right.
and what we women here will create the new narrative for leadership." And I think
Wow.
that's what she just did.
Wow.
And we'll
You
talk about
best
the
believe it.
breakdown of that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. This is her contribution. She actually drove the core memory idea. She drove the idea, and I'm incorporating Spanish. The idea,
Good idea.
and
Good. Way to go.
idea,
Yeah, it's good.
and the idea and the architecture, which is the blueprint and structure. And when
Yeah.
I tell you her background, you're going to be, you're going to be probably shocked by what her core
Well, that's
background
why
is.
people walked away from her when she came up with the idea, right?
Right.
I think it
Right.
is. I don't have, look, I
Well,
don't have any facts about this, so you're going to hear a lot of our opinions
right.
today.
Right.
But having been where she is and
Right.
have presented ideas to developers and financial people, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So she did it on her own.
Yeah. So Ben Sigmund provided the moral support, I'm sure,
And the
and
technical.
the project support from the standpoint of
Yeah.
engineering and the implementation details or the
And
coding.
they're 20-year friends.
Oh, well, you know
They've known each
something?
other for 20 years, is what I
Oh, okay.
understand.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
I didn't know that. But she pushed the idea and he embraced it. And it's the early system tests claim perfect scores on memory benchmarks.
Yeah. We're at
They
96.7 now, which is still hello.
pretty perfect. And later commentary noted that early claims are being treated cautiously. Uh, so the positive so the positive performance story is still considered promotional or marketing oriented until independently verified. Well, the product is released, and I'm sure it'll be independently verified. It sounds pretty
Yeah.
good right now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so interesting when people come out and say that. So, who are the people saying that? They're probably the leader AI developer. So, if that's
Uh,
GPT or whoever is running chat, hello, you not only lost my friend's manuscript because you couldn't remember it, and you lost
right,
a 200-page document. And so, all of us that have been here thought you could do it. Now we know better. So, we don't use
right,
it the same way. But you
right.
look, she came out of the gate and she said Mila had an AI memory problem on a project she was working on. Hello, right? And
Yeah,
then
she discovered the gap. Yeah, herself.
she said, I had read a lot about ancient Greeks memorizing long speeches and how the most famous memory masters are able to remember up to 70K decimal places of the number pi. I felt
Um,
like we should be able to give AI the ability to remember more information in the organic way.
right. Unbelievable. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
right. No, really, it really is. I knew, as a user, she discovered, the problem that she was having.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that she's associated with the ancient Greeks' capacity to remember long speeches
Well, I mean, come on. I
and to
mean, this is
code
really
data
where
that way.
genius ideas come from.
Right, right.
But how does she fare in the mind of hiring? How does she fare when you look at the landscape of your business, Dr. Mickey? Because they hire you to bring in candidates and you have to screen through them.
Right.
So are you thinking, I don't know what you're thinking, but perhaps are you thinking something like, I wonder if we should relook some of the criteria we're using?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking these when I'm thinking about these personal characteristics, I wanted to learn about these two characters, Mila and Ben,
What'd you
find
find?
out about them, a little bit more in depth about who they are, and they are really interesting folks, and I think that's what makes them really interesting and effective leaders and innovators. So, Mila Jovovich. She's an Ukrainian American. A lot of people know her. I have to confess that I really didn't know her that well or at all. But she's an
I'm a
actress.
giant fan. I have been a giant fan of her since she was in The Fifth Element. So she's
Yeah,
somebody that's in my follow the
right,
dots.
right. So she's an actress. She's a model, attractive woman. She's a singer and fashion
And
designer.
she's a multimillionaire. Let's not
Well,
forget
I'm
that.
not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And as you see, she starred in Resident Evil films and the Fifth Element movie.
Yep.
She born in Kiev in 1975. She spent her early childhood in Moscow. Came to LA, which is in the U.S. I'm sure everybody knows that. And she attended school and learned English rather quickly. She became a U.S. citizen in 1994, but most importantly, people consistently describe her, and this is important for me to know, as resilient, independent, adaptive, adventurous, risk oriented, outspoken, determined, strong sense of self, and willing to push through challenges like most determined people are. Uh, what I found interesting that she's this woman is known for her physical action work in terms of, let's say, karate or kickboxing, and has done many of her own stunts. But more importantly for me, in terms of the way I look at people and assess people, she speaks multiple languages, multiple languages. For example, she's fluent in English, Russian, Ukrainian, Serbian, and French. Throw another Romance language in there. Um, she is definitely a person for all seasons. And you wonder how and why a person of that nature with her artistic, skill sets can all of a sudden plug into AI and come up with this idea and even the architecture part of it. It just blows me away, to be honest with you. Um, so I know why you're so interested. She's somebody I'd like to have lunch with tomorrow.
Well, she is, but let's take a look at her career for a minute and then let's talk about Ben.
Yeah,
Because Ben is known for something, Mr. Bitcoin.
right,
But if you look at her journey, like most actresses or most talented people, and you look at what she had to do to maintain her self identity and, come forward, she is creative skill. She's a musician. Her fashion, sense and top model sense, if you look at those. So when you think about this is the multidimensional leader that knows how to
right.
take an idea and then implement it. See,
Yeah,
isn't that
and
the gap we have in leadership right now?
yeah, she dwells in the world of concepts or ideas.
And
She's
possibilities.
well said, possibilities, uh, and opportunities. She's not as much in the world of things, but she can shift over there, which really kind of. But
Hmm.
when you do when you bring an idea, that's a concept, and you shape an architecture for it. You're basically like a like an architect, what they call a design architect, not a project architect who gets into the details, like is what Ben Sigmund did for her and this project or this product. So you said it right about Ben. He's a Bitcoin and AI entrepreneur and he has strong technical and leadership skills. Um, he's an AI agent orchestrator, systems organizer. Um, he's like he said, his focus is on making Bitcoin easier and more available to the average Joe like me, who's scared to death of it. Uh, as a person, he emphasizes and leader, he emphasizes teamwork and supportive. I want to emphasize that leadership. And he's considered a really good communicator, and he's considered educational, and he's rather likable. I read that he's a rather likable guy, which is important for leaders anytime, especially today, because leaders that are likable often deal with people in a likable way, meaning they give them space and opportunities to own their stuff, so to speak. And he's an
Hmm.
educational guy, so he's kind of driven by teaching and enlightening people. And his personal purpose, as you said, Dr. Pat, is Bitcoin strategy, advocacy, and what they call wallet platform development. So he founded Bitcoin Libre, which is to make Bitcoin and related lending tools simple, global, and friendly to the average person. Still scared of it, but it's kind of prompted me or got me curious about kind of exploring what he's written about Bitcoin and related lending tools. Is maybe this is something that I want to get into as an investor or
Yeah.
some way, shape, or form. I'm not as afraid anymore because I saw this guy's picture and he does
Yeah.
seem friendly and he doesn't seem like he's ready to dupe people into something that they shouldn't do. But
But we're also calling this episode the futuristic edge of leadership, and there are
right,
characteristics that
right,
make this model. And one of them is the fact that these are two people that could have monetized this, right?
right.
Would you agree, Dr. Mickey?
Oh yeah.
Because yeah,
The more they say about it and describing it, the more free it sounds to me.
yes. Well, GitHub, open source, and then you can go from there.
Right.
But doesn't that also bring an important piece of the pie together, that altruistic notion,
Yeah,
right?
what we talked about last week,
Yeah.
that they are really out to benefit society. And oh God,
Yeah.
I don't
But
even know
part
where
of this, though, is when we think about this, let's recap for a minute. Why are we talking about Ben and Mila? Well, we're talking about them for three reasons. One, they are demonstrating a new way to contribute. Number
right.
two, for me, she demonstrates not only resilience, but she went to other developers before she went to Ben.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Clearly, they were not interested, but
Right.
she still went on and did it. So it's a
Well,
form of
she's determined.
resilience.
She's
She's
determined.
determined.
Right.
And the shock was, and even in the headlines we're now reading, Forbes comes out guns loaded. I mean, they have a picture of her from Resident Evil. So you see some of the magazines now starting to embrace what she's accomplished, who she is, and combine it with who she's become.
Right.
But
Right.
that's a really, I mean, when you think about that kind of progress and taking, just taking it on,
Right. Right. No, it's
what do,
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing to me because it just doesn't jive with her background. But what it does jive with is a conceptual, idea-oriented individual who's willing to put some structure to it and pursue it and sell it. And she was able to engage Ben, who she apparently knew for a long time,
Hmm.
But like other successful entrepreneurs who wants to do something good for society, extremely altruistic for the common man in today's AI environment, you got to really respect somebody like that and admire somebody like her, because Ben is basically operating. He's a good guy and he's smart and a good leader, but he's operating from his, kind of from his familiar underpinnings, from his familiar foundation, his background.
Yeah.
She's coming at it from a totally different place,
Yeah.
which really impresses me.
Well,
So,
and Ben comes out and also says, they developed it. He says, my friend Mila and we developed this AI memory system using with Claude.
right,
So, you could see how the thinking, how everything came together, right?
right.
And now they're under a microscope as they should be, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. They've put themselves out there and they're going to be closely evaluated. It's not their it's like they're really doing it for the common good. And in many ways, Ben's Bitcoin ventures are for the common person. They're for the common good. Um, and they're really pretty impressive in that sense. And they're going to be scrutinized, even though they're doing it for the good of everybody. They're going to be highly scrutinized, and that's why there was a piece in here that indicated that it's still under scrutiny. They've done their own testing, and I'm sure they know what they're doing. But these quote unquote experts also have to verify it, right? So
They
they're going to
do.
be they're going to be they're going to be under a microscope, and they're going to be looked at pretty clearly and pretty hard. And my bet is that this product is going to be very good, and I suspect it has been released, hasn't it, Dr. Pat?
Well,
So
it's
it's
yes, it's out there and they are continuing to test it and
right,
benchmark it. I mean, if you follow Mila and you go to, Mila's Facebook account, you'll see she posts and tells people what she's doing, how she's doing it, what it's all about. I mean, what I love about this, and this is what we're not getting in leadership, Dr. Mickey, we're not getting any communication. I mean, we're talking about two people who put everything on the line, created something that nobody expected him to do, and is now out there looking at it, right?
right, right,
And they've created a whole official. You have to go to Mem Palace official to find the
right.
website, but they're not hiding.
No, and should they hide. Why should
How
they
do you
hide?
wrap that together in what leaders need to learn, Dr. Mickey? I
Well,
mean, I'm not saying that all companies could be like she and Ben, but we have to try something different.
yeah. I think leading edge companies really today need people today, particularly today, that are people for all seasons again, just like Mila and Ben are. I mean, they're both people for all seasons. And, to enable their companies to sustain, the leading edge, to sustain the futuristic edge that we talked about in terms of the episode titles. These characteristics that these folks have, I'm sure, they're more abundant beyond them, but people like that have to be identified by companies that are in business today in this kind of environment. So, so these companies have to give folks like Mila and Ben the freedom, the space, and the investment to do the stuff and the voodoo that they do so well. They need to be supported. And, companies that don't do that as well
Mhm.
are going to pay by quickly, and particularly in today's environment, by losing and compromising their competitive advantage. Um, so again, while AI models offer, they're good products. They offer a lot of information and reasoning power for their users. But it is possible that even these companies had internal regulations or constraints or rules that may have interfered with their incorporating a better memory component, you know?
Yeah.
That they
Yeah.
stifled their own progress, maybe based on their own aspects of their own cultures.
They have
And you would
had
never
to do
expect
that.
that. Hmm?
But you see, that's what they have had to do. Why am I saying that? Because either I'm stunned with the fact that ChatGPT or other AIs didn't know they had a memory problem. See,
Right.
everybody complained about chat, and yet no action. And here's what I believe. I believe that these two had the freedom to develop something without an hierarchy, without knowing they had to
Right.
monetize it. So
Yeah.
therefore, they didn't have investors in their way.
Right. They didn't have them in their face
They
either.
didn't have them in their face. And, it kind of reminds me, once upon a time, there was an idea of how to manage organizations with this style
Right.
of leadership.
Right.
And we went through it and then we stopped. But what we're talking about is going back to a system of leadership that promotes innovation, promotes ideas. And that, I think, has got to be the tipping point for companies, Dr. Mickey, or
Right.
those that don't do that, they're going to really fall behind.
You
That's
know,
just what
it's
I think.
it's interesting that you say promote innovation. I used to use a 360 product. It was at the time, I guess it's still called, it was called Praxis, which is a Greek word for practice. So that's what it measured. And it was one of the earlier products, and it was really a high quality product. One of the behaviors that it measured, it gave feedback, and people had
Hmm.
a chance to assess themselves on promoting innovation. And I remember doing programs, feedback programs for groups, particularly senior managers who took this assessment. A lot of them discounted it, promoting innovation. And a lot of them devalued it. Now that I'm
Yeah,
thinking, now that you mentioned it,
they did.
and it was never what I had them do in the initial stages of doing their program and getting feedback and everything as a group and individuals. They had to identify the top 5 most important skills in praxis. Promoting innovation was never one of them.
Yeah. Well,
Never.
look, we have come full circle, Dr. Mickey. We got to
Yeah.
run.
Okay.
Again, what's the website to go to learn about you?
Well, deltaconsultants.com.
And then if you
Yeah.
want to learn about Mem Palace, there is an official website,
Right. Right.
mempalaceofficial.com. All the others
Okay.
are just noise. Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Mickey, for taking this on.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Fab. Appreciate
For all
it.
of you out there, I think what this is an example of innovation in its purest form,
Yeah.
which goes beyond race,
No, I agree.
ethnicity, all of the
Fascinating,
above.
fascinating story. Fascinating people.
Yep.
Okay.
Closing message, take the blinders off and let's
Yeah.
create.
Yeah. Let's go. You have been listening to Inside the Mind of Hiring with me, Dr. Mickey Fineberg. Tune in the first and third Tuesday at 11 on Transformation Talk Radio to discover the psychology of making successful hiring decisions. In each episode, hiring managers and HR pros will learn how to leverage assessments and other key screening sources and avoid common pitfalls. Job seekers will gain insight into successfully presenting themselves. For more information on assessing people for mission-critical jobs and on career assessment and coaching, visit deltaconsultants.com and my LinkedIn profile. If you'd like to write me personally, it's Mickey, Mickey, @deltaconsultants.com.